Vladimir Putin, the life of Russia's powerful leader. Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin, born on October 7, 1952, in Leningrad, now St. Petersburg, Russia, rose from humble beginnings to become one of the most powerful leaders in the world. Known for his strongman tactics, control over Russian politics, and controversial policies, Putin's life is both fascinating and complex. Early life, a humble beginning. Putin grew up in a working-class family in the Soviet Union. His father, Vladimir Spiridonovich Putin, was a soldier in World War II, while his mother, Maria Ivanovna Putina, worked in a factory. The family lived in a small apartment in Leningrad, which had just suffered the horrors of the siege of Leningrad during World War II. Life was hard, but this hardship shaped Putin's resilience and determination. From a young age, Putin showed a strong interest in martial arts, particularly judo, which would later become a lifelong passion. He also developed a reputation for being ambitious and determined, often taking part in street fights to prove his toughness. The KGB, a rising career in intelligence. After completing high school in 1970, Putin enrolled at Leningrad State University, where he studied law. It was at university that he first became interested in the KGB, Committee for State Security, the Soviet Union's secret police and intelligence agency. He joined the KGB after graduating in 1975, beginning a career that would define much of his future. Putin's KGB career took him to East Germany in the 1980s, where he worked as a spy. During his time there, he honed his skills in espionage, surveillance, and intelligence gathering, crucial experiences that would shape his leadership style later in life. The KGB was an organization that valued loyalty to the Soviet state, and Putin remained fiercely loyal to the ideals of the Soviet Union. However, when the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, Putin was forced to adjust to the new political reality. Political rise. From St. Petersburg to Moscow. After the fall of the Soviet Union, Putin returned to St. Petersburg and began working in the city's government. He quickly rose through the ranks due to his political savvy and his ability to make powerful connections. In 1996, he moved to Moscow to further his political career, working for Boris Yeltsin, the first president of the Russian Federation. Putin was appointed as head of the Federal Security Service FSB, the KGB's successor agency, and became known for his tough approach to tackling corruption and maintaining order. His skills in handling both internal political challenges and external pressures caught the attention of Yeltsin and the Russian elite. In 1999, amidst political and economic turmoil, Yeltsin appointed Putin as prime minister. A few months later, when Yeltsin unexpectedly resigned on December 31, 1999, Putin became acting president of Russia at the age of 47. Becoming president, strengthening power. Putin's initial rise to power was marked by a promise of stability for a Russia that was in chaos after the collapse of the Soviet Union. In 2000, Putin was formally elected president, securing a strong political mandate. His early leadership was centered around restoring order to a country plagued by corruption, oligarchs, and an economy in decline. One of Putin's most important decisions during his first term as president was his handling of the Second Chechen War. He launched military operations to suppress separatists in Chechnya, a region in the North Caucasus. Despite the brutality of the war, which led to significant civilian casualties, Putin's firm stance won him strong support among many Russians who craved a return to stability and order. Putin's government also focused on rebuilding Russia's economy, using the country's vast natural resources, especially oil and natural gas, to fuel growth. By consolidating control over Russia's major industries and ensuring the loyalty of the business elite, Putin increased Russia's political and economic power. Power consolidation. Russia's strongman leader. In 2004, Putin won re-election by a landslide, and during his second term, he solidified his control over the country. He dismantled the power of Russia's oligarchs, businessmen who had gained significant political influence during the chaotic 1990s, and implemented policies to centralize political power in the hands of the president. Putin used the media to shape public opinion, ensuring that state-controlled outlets portrayed him as a strong, decisive leader who could restore Russia's greatness. This period also saw Putin's increasing authoritarianism, with restrictions placed on political opposition, protests, and independent media outlets. In 2008, Putin was forced to step down as president due to term limits. However, he maintained a significant amount of power by becoming prime minister under his protégé, Dmitry Medvedev. Medvedev served as president for a single term, and in 2012, Putin returned to the presidency, this time with a controversial constitutional amendment, allowing him to stay in power until 2036. International relations, challenges with the West. In 2014, Putin made a bold and internationally controversial move. He annexed Crimea from Ukraine, following a referendum in which the majority of Crimean voters supported joining Russia. This sparked global outrage, with the United States and European Union imposing economic sanctions on Russia. Putin's actions were condemned by the West, but he framed the annexation as a necessary step to protect Russia's interests, especially in light of Ukraine's increasing ties with the West. The annexation of Crimea was followed by the conflict in eastern Ukraine, where pro-Russian separatists fought against Ukrainian forces, further straining Russia's relations with Western countries. Putin continued to challenge Western influence and support authoritarian regimes, such as that of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, in the ongoing Syrian civil war. Putin in the modern era. Power and controversy. Putin's influence only grew as he continued to hold power. In 2020, he pushed through a constitutional amendment that allowed him to remain in power until 2036, effectively making him Russia's longest-serving leader since Joseph Stalin. His rule, however, has not been without controversy. Many accuse him of suppressing political opposition, curbing freedoms, and restricting the media. Notably, opposition leader Alexei Navalny has been a vocal critic of Putin's regime and has faced harassment, imprisonment, and poisoning attempts. These actions have drawn sharp criticism from international human rights organizations. In 2022, Putin launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, escalating the conflict that had been simmering since 2014. The invasion shocked the world, and Russia faced severe sanctions from Western countries. As of today, the war continues, and Putin's position remains contentious, both at home and abroad. Conclusion. Putin's legacy. Vladimir Putin's journey from a humble childhood in Leningrad to becoming one of the most powerful figures in modern Russian history is a testament to his political savvy and strong leadership. While he is hailed by many Russians as a protector of national pride and sovereignty, his methods have led to accusations of authoritarianism and human rights abuses. As he continues to lead Russia into the 21st century, Putin's legacy remains a subject of intense debate on the global stage. His control over Russia's future, especially in light of the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, will determine not only his legacy, but the direction in which Russia will move in the coming decades.